So in the studio today, we have Roelant Vos. Welcome, Roelant. You are a speaker at the Data Modeling Zone Europe conference in November 18th and 19th. And you're actually speaking at both days, both locations, Europe, early in the morning, because that is pretty in the afternoon, or late, early in the evening in Brisbane, Australia, where you are. And you give two talks actually at the Data Modeling Zone, which the first one is pretty self-explanatory. It's called Data Vault Fundamentals. It's very close to your heart, I think, Data Vault. So you will be very passionate to speak about that and explain what the fundamentals are and so on. There is a second talk, which is called How to Agree to Disagree, which is about a schema for data solution automation. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Patrick. So yeah, I'm Roelant Vos. I've been visiting Data Modeling Zone many times, and I've presented many times as well. It's definitely one of my favorite conferences, and I look forward to being there this time as well. So my background is data warehousing, and I've been working with, for example, Data Vault since early 2000s. It's one of the early adapters, I could say. And it's also around that time that I started automating data solutions. And that's really what my hobby is. And I've been figuring out ways to generate ETL, to use DevOps and all those kinds of things for many years. And I'm drawn to that practical aspects, like how can we make things as easy as possible for ourselves, right? I like to talk about it in terms of being lazy. Lazy is good because lazy means we've got it all figured out, right? We haven't all figured it out yet, but we're definitely working towards that. And this is where the presentation on the schema for data warehouse solution automation, I prefer the term data solution more than data warehousing usually because of the political connotation sometimes has, but it's all about figuring out easy ways to access data, to interpret data, and to provide some meaningful results for people to work with. And finding ways to simplify that and work together with other interested parties in the field, either vendors or technical hobbyists or whatever. That's what I really like to do. And I think it's important because my view on data, it's probably worth sharing to an extent. But I always look at projects, and I've done many over the last more than 20 years. You always look back at the solution, at a model, and you think, at least I think, like if you look back with the knowledge that I have now, if I would do the project again, what would I have done different? And there's always many things that you learn while you work with the data, and thus the meaning and the context and everything, it becomes more apparent when you talk more to people and when you interrogate the data, and as a result your model changes. And I think that flexibility and ways to keep that flexible is really important, and that's what both Data Vault and DevOps and automation will help you with. You said there's very few people, or not everybody knows Data Vault at the same level or in different ways, and it's really because there's so many different ways you can do certain things, right? And Data Vault is no exception. There's a lot of views and opinions and ways that you can solve the same problem in different ways, and none of them are necessarily better than the others. And it's the same for automating those solutions. So based on those ideas, different ways of developing and automating your development, they pop up everywhere, right? So there's pretty much nobody I know in this area that hasn't worked on their own do-it-yourself automation solution to some extent. And again, most of them are really well fit for purpose. They work quite well. But both for the automation part and the I guess the modeling and the design part, the data vault part, it really is not necessarily a matter of figuring out who's right. It's more a matter of agreeing on the things that are always going to be there, and nothing brings that home more than the variety of automation solutions we find. And what I think is a pity is that a lot of opportunity for collaboration is lost because everybody is protective of their own, their own intellectual property or their own idea.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like to see is a collaboration between the vendors, the technical people that develop their own solutions, the automation experts, and then so look, we don't need to agree on specific ways of implementing the solutions, but at least we can all agree that there is data mapping or data going from A to B, or it's interpreted in a certain way. So if we separate that capturing of that design, that design metadata to develop your data solution, then we can work together on that, and we can use our own automation and storage and interaction tools to work with that metadata. So it's about um, saying the um, the the way we store and interact with the design metadata. If we can standardize that to a certain extent, then everybody is free to use their own tools and their own patterns to develop the solution the way they see fit.
Okay, so
That's what
it's
it's all about.
okay. So also a bit of separation of concerns, a bit of
Yep.
yeah, looks
Yep.
interesting. Very interesting to see that talk at the Data Modeling Zone Europe.